And welcome back, PlayStation Live from E3. We're going to talk about Just Cause 4. I got Adam from the development team, and Ryan joins us once again.
Hello there, sir.
How you doing?
And hello, Adam. It's good to have you here from Avalanche. I'm a big Avalanche fan.
Thank you.
We're happy to talk about Just Cause, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great to be here.
Good to have you here. Let me start and I know you can't really talk much about the story.
Sure.
But tell us a little bit about, just set us like kind of in the universe of Just Cause, where Just Cause 4 takes place.
Sure. So at the end of Just Cause 3, Rico has liberated Medici from Di Ravello, and he's kind of took some time and enjoyed life. But then a new mission came up where that kind of involves his family, and so he's traveled to the island nation of Solis in South America to fight an enemy like he's never fought before.
That sounds like a good setup.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you guys are like good to go on that.
Yeah.
And I know we don't want to talk too much about the story, and I'm not going to milk you for details, so
Okay.
do not worry. But tell me a little bit about like what's new in Just Cause 4, from the team at Avalanche, and kind of what are your main goals with this game?
I mean, our main goal is that we want to be the premier sandbox kind of action game out there where the players can go in and do what they want to do. If you want to go and just tether a bunch of cows together, the game will support that. If you want to go jam through the mission and be a superhero, the game will support that. And so we've focused on things like customization with the grapple hook, and as well other things that are like massive physics playground toys, like the tornado that you might have seen in the trailer. And
yeah, we can actually, maybe we'll play the trailer on the big screen here for folks in just a minute here. But
Sure.
yeah, continue. Sorry to interrupt.
No, not at all. But yeah, in general, what we focus on is giving players the ability to do the things that they want to do. And I think one of the highest compliments we got paid in the past was that if you think you can do it, you probably can. And when you do it, it looks good. So we really took that at kind of the heart of a lot of our methodology going into this one.
So how does your team continue to craft these giant, massive open worlds that we just love playing in?
Well, we have the Apex engine. That's a kind of a new update here with Just Cause 4. That's given us certainly the physics horsepower that we need to be able to accomplish a game like this, have a tornado lifting 747s off the ground and breaking them into pieces. And then you can tether to it and all that.
Of course you can.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
Because. But, of
course.
if you haven't heard that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, no, I forgot where I was going because I made a joke.
No, but the joke was worth it.
I know.
It was worth it to interrupt your thought.
But ultimately, we took the engine, we massively upgraded it. We allow for physics interactions like we've never had before, and with that, we're allowed to do things that we've not been able to accomplish in the past.
I remember that's kind of a feeling that I think a lot of Just Cause fans had, especially in the second one. That first moment that you really get to see, oh, this whole space is playable. And your transition between ground combat, aerial combat, driving, walking, diving, parachuting, all of it, the team at Avalanche just blended that all together perfectly. And that seems like that you guys are driving that and enhancing that for this one, right?
Oh, absolutely. One of the mottos at the studio is if you can see it, you can go there. And if you can go there, you can poke it. And if you poke it, it's going to react.
I like it.
Did you engrave that in wood somewhere?
No, that is actually a motto for us.
I love it. I love it. Sign me up for that.
And so it was important that while you're doing that, if the experience that you want is to drive around, we want to make that experience excellent. We want the car handling and the helicopters to behave the way you want them to, and we want to load them up with weapons so you can blow things up, because blowing things up is sort of at the heart of what we do.
Yeah, it's on Rico's business card.
Blowing
things up.
Yeah.
So what were some of the lessons that you learned from Just Cause 3 that you're bringing over to Just Cause 4?
Sure. In general, we watched a lot of players online, and that's kind of going into this era now. There's all these streamers and YouTubers and all that allow us to kind of see the way players are playing in a much bigger sample size. And so we used a lot of that, and then we also paid a lot of attention both to the reviews, but also the comments that we were seeing as we went. And the design team are a bunch of maniacs and actually built like a giant spreadsheet that aggregated and weighted all these different feedback points, and we identified what we felt were some of the biggest things.
Whoa.
And then also through just our own observation. So once we did that, we kind of rested into saying, like, we need to give them more options. We need to give them more ways to interact with the world. Sometimes that's the grapple hook with all the new customization that comes with it, but it's also things like vehicles that do things that we've not been able to do in the past, like a forklift that can just flip things over, or a crane, magnet crane And so we've really expanded almost everything we do and bring as much variety as possible. And that was one criticism we had, was it was kind of one world, one environment. Now you have 4 distinct biomes that all have very unique gameplay to themselves.
That's awesome. Creativity runs through in your development team.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe that spreadsheet story. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't believe the spreadsheet.
Yeah, I know. I bet it took up a lot of space.
It was.
Tell me a little bit about the world progression. We were talking about that backstage, that's something that kind of has been in the Just Cause series to sort of make progress in the world and either take down a dictatorship or cause chaos. I mean, what does that system look like in Just Cause 4?
In Just Cause, so we had a system in Just Cause 3 where you would liberate bases and kind of progress your objectives. But it didn't really manifest or render much. You didn't see the world change much aside from maybe that town suddenly looked liberated. Instead, we want to give a sense that there is a war going on this time, and you are advancing that war. So we have a new frontline system where, as you progress and take over areas, you're going to see that battle continue through the world, and you'll see guys fighting against each other, and it will always be there. And so there was a perpetual frontline running across the entire world that you can go and interact with. It's not just like a piece of VFX or something. It's soldiers and tanks. And then as you liberate bases, it has a tangible effect on what your army is able to do. If you liberate a tank base, suddenly they're going to be able to have tanks because they weren't before, because they're a rebel army. They don't have nothing to start. So we wanted to kind of really make that not only just a system that moved you through the game, but something that showed that you are, in fact, liberating this nation.
That's awesome.
This trailer's bonkers, by the way. Sorry I interrupted you.
It's crazy.
Can I just ask real quick, when you guys are putting all this stuff together, did you find that there were any technical or creative hurdles that your team faced, and how did you overcome those? Does anything stand out during the development period?
Sure. I mean, as you can see, the physics interactions in our game are absolutely over the top, and we kind of recognized we needed to add more muscle and more horsepower to what we were doing. So that's kind of where the Apex engine came in. And that's what allows us to do this right here with a giant tornado. And that's not a piece of VFX. That's not just like a special effect that looks cool and gives atmosphere and mood to the game. That is actually picking up 747s and tearing them apart. That's actually picking up vehicles. Enemies react to it. We even had a guy kind of claw across the ground as he was getting sucked up into it.
That's insane.
That's terrible.
I want it to be believable.
Yeah, but very believable.
No one is relaxed getting sucked into it.
Yeah, well, and also it's all a game.
Yeah.
Right?
It's all in fun.
Right.
No
So
real tornadoes were used in the
Nope.
creation of Just Cause.
So if you could only pick one of the new features that you're most excited about players getting their hands on, which one would it be?
For me, it's the grapple hook, because I think that's where we give a lot of expression and creativity to the player. It's not just a matter of can I shoot all these guys and empty this base out. We almost in a way kind of look at it like a skateboarding game, where it's not can I grind down this rail. It's how dope can I go down this rail. And so we try to give you as many ways to, like, I can take this base in any of 50 different ways, but what if I put a bunch of airlifters onto a thing loaded with explosives and drop it into the center of the enemies and then suddenly kind of take it from there? You know, all of that is possible. It's really up to your imagination and what the combinations on the hook are in the thousands. Someone told me the number once and I can't even remember it.
I need you to remember it right now.
I know.
No, but before we start wrapping up, I have to ask one more thing, and that is, of all the insane stunts that appear on YouTube for this game and on other various streaming services, do you have any that stand out or that made the team all laugh or brought everyone like, oh my gosh, a player actually did this in our game?
I mean, we watch a lot of them around the office. They get sent around on nearly a daily basis.
Yes, that's what I want to hear.
And you see some crazy stuff, like what people were doing with the boosters on vehicles, the jumps that they were doing, like threading the needle through 2 buildings and then landing perfectly on like a terrace somewhere. You'd see stuff like that, and that's incredible. I think the one that got the most resonance from us was someone actually took shipping containers with the Magnet helicopter and made Jenga. And so they made a giant shipping container Jenga, and then they started playing and pulling pieces out and seeing how long they could do that. And that was, to me, like, if we can allow that, we can allow so much more.
This is the power of the Just Cause community, Adam. That is amazing.
It is
Ramon,
amazing.
what do you think, man?
Oh, they looked awesome. Thank you so much. That was a deeper look at Just Cause 4, and we'll be back live at PlayStation from E3.
PlayStation